Hello, everybody. Welcome to probably season two, episode six. Because we had a draft of that one, but I haven't been able to get it edited, so we'll see if I ever get that out.
Oh,
So either episode six or seven. Um, have fun, relax, and stay hydrated.
nice.
Drink of the week. A little bit of Coke. Um, all right, so we're gonna hop right into it with the week in wrestling. But before we do that, I just want to quickly go over something because, again, the last episode that we did may never see the light of day. So I just want to quickly run over this. Robby, two pay-per-views last week,
Yeah.
All In, Payback. Just tell me like what you enjoyed about them, basically.
Uh, so Payback, the tag match,
Mhm.
Judgment Day, Sami KO was fantastic. Probably my favorite match on the show. Trish versus Becky Steel Cage, also
That's
fantastic.
good.
Probably arguably one of the best matches of either woman's career.
Yeah, definitely a match of
Uh,
the year contender there.
100%. Good to see Zoe Stark actually. Well, it's actually kind of concerning that Zoe Stark split away from Trish. It's she could be on her own, but at the same time, she's on her own, which is might be an issue. But we shall see how that goes. And Seth retaining over Shinsuke was pretty
Mm,
cool. What was a little odd was having Shinsuke attack Seth after the show went off the air. I don't know why
mm.
they couldn't have done that on the air. They still could have talked about it on Raw,
Exactly.
even if they had it aired,
Mhm.
but whatever. And then All Out
All in,
for a
all
card.
in. We're not talking about all out yet.
Oh,
That's
All
this
In.
week.
Okay.
All in.
Okay, fair
We're gonna
enough.
talk about
All
all
In.
out in a minute.
All In was pretty good, actually. It was pretty good. Now, I will be honest, it wasn't as good as All Out, surprisingly, but All In
Okay.
was a good show. Was a
Yeah.
good show.
All right. So, was there anything? I'll say my opinions in a minute. Is there anything that you specifically disliked about either of the shows?
Hmm. I mean, I guess All In had, the CM Punk debacle at
Yeah.
at the beginning, even though
Yeah,
it was
for those
backstage.
of you who don't know, because again, we talked about this in the unaired episode. CM Punk got fired because of what happened at All In.
He
He
did.
had another backstage fight with another wrestler, and it just got too much, and they fired him.
Yep. Yeah, it was rough, but
Okay.
oh well.
So I specifically did not watch All In, but I have seen a bunch of clips now, and
Mhm.
I've basically watched the show.
Right,
um, Overall, it was okay. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst.
right.
For what I've seen. Um, I I haven't watched a lot of matches. It was mainly entrances and like parts of different matches. I will
Right.
say, Osprey's entrance was awesome.
Right. That's what I was saying.
But no, the one of the negative things that I could also say about All In is definitely the CM Punk debacle that happened with him and Jack Perry.
And the fact that's pretty much one of the only things that people are actually talking about as opposed to, the actual wrestling on the show.
Exactly.
Everyone's talking about what happened backstage before the show. But
And then with
yeah.
Payback, oh, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna
Okay.
say anything.
With Payback, I honestly thought it was a really solid show. Like, I
Yeah.
really don't think I could think of any real negatives with it. I mean, the worst match was still pretty good.
Right.
For me, the worst match is probably Ray versus Theory. Still a decent match.
Either that or Rhea versus Raquel, because it did have a few botches.
Yeah, Ray versus
But
Raquel could be up there too.
there wasn't really any bad match on the
Yeah,
show. It
and
was all at least average quality
yeah,
at
it's
best
average quality
or at worst.
matches to two different match of the year contenders.
Exactly.
So,
Even though Dave
but
Meltzer didn't see it that way.
yeah, you know, I have beef with Vince Russo. He has beef with Dave Meltzer. No,
Right, there you go.
but no, I feel like Payback. It was a solid show all around. Which I said this on the unaired episode. Um, WWE since Triple H has come in, I really they've stepped up their pay per view quality. Like they have not really had a bad pay per view in a long while.
Yep.
Like I mean, even the ones that before Triple H stepped in were known to be like on the lower end. Like sorry, Extreme Rules
Yeah.
was usually known to be on the lower end of the pay per views. The
Right.
one that Triple H did in 2022, excuse me, was pretty good.
It was, actually extreme as
Yeah.
opposed to the year before.
When they have one Extreme Rules match
They
a
had one Extreme Rules match.
year. Yeah, this last year's there was every match had a stipulation. Which
Yeah,
I mean, I know he's not doing gimmicks anymore, but can we please have like a pay-per-view where every match has a stipulation?
exactly. That's the way to go.
Bring back Unforgiven and have that be that one. But
Correct. Cyber Sunday. Let the fans vote.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm I've been I've been wanting that for years, man. No. But no, I really can't think of anything bad about that show. Overall, great show. And again, two match of the year contenders right there in one show.
Yeah.
All right, let's now get into the week, starting with you, Robbie, and All Out.
Alrighty. So I'm just gonna say this right now. Given that this week or this pay-per-view had just 1 week of build, I was impressed of what they pulled out because it was a really good show. And we'll get to a couple of those matches later. But we have a few matches on this card that could be match of the year candidates. But first of all, we're going to start with the opening match. Better Than You, Baby, Adam Cole and MJF versus the Dark Order for the Ring of Honor tag titles. MJF and Adam Cole retained. I don't know how this partnership is still going, but it is. It's only a matter of time until
Ev-
they split apart.
Everyone thought it would end at one of the All shows, either All In or All Out.
Exactly. I thought it would end when they got their tag title match on Collision like
Mhm.
a month ago.
But it's
But
also like the best story in AEW right now.
right? Next match we have Samoa Joe versus Shane Taylor for the Ring of Honor TV title. Now before the match, when Samoa Joe was making his entrance, MJF and Adam Cole were going up the ramp, and Samoa Joe did a little callback to I believe it was when Joe was making his entrance as I think it was NXT champ, right?
Yeah,
At a takeover. I can't remember which one.
I think it
And
was him versus Shin was the match leading up.
I believe so, yes. And MJF was playing a security guard, an extra, and they were basically doing a Goldberg entrance for Samoa Joe. And when MJF, as the security guard, got a little bit too close to Joe, Joe shoved him into the wall. Now, 7 years later, they recreated that spot. Joe was coming down the ramp, and on his way down to the ramp, he shoved MJF to the side. And let me tell you, MJF was not happy. He ran into the ring and he came after Samoa Joe.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
watch a lot of stuff from All Out, but I watched that.
Right. So Samoa Joe and MJF ended up brawling, and eventually it was calmed down by security, and the match with Joe and Shane Taylor was underway. And as expected, Samoa Joe retained his title because it it's Shane Taylor. Like it's
It's
Shane
Shane
Taylor.
Taylor. What do you want?
Like that that's all you gotta say. Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin for the TNT title. Oh, this was a squash match. Luchasaurus retained. Nothing more to say. Moving
There
on.
you go.
Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs.
I just wanted to point out something. Didn't you? What did Meltzer rate that Luchasaurus Darby match? Didn't he like severely overrate that, even though it was a
I,
squash?
I think he gave that a 3.75,
And that was a squash match.
and it was
He
a
gave it
squash match.
3.75 out of 5.
He, he must not like Darby Allin, clearly.
Yeah, that has to be it. All right, Miro Hobbs.
Miro Hobbs. This exceeded many people's expectations, including mine. Uh, Miro got the dub, and apparently this match has been turned into a meme because you got a big man, Miro, a big man, Hobbs, put them together, meat.
Oh.
So throughout this whole match, the crowd was chanting for meat. And it's even become they even got a t-shirt that says meat. I kid you not. And after the match, they shook hands, but then Hobbs attacked Miro. But who comes out to save him? CJ Perry, formerly known as
Some,
Lana.
just some random ass person. No.
One of the security guards or something. No. But despite CJ coming in to save her husband, Miro was not happy about this, and he abandoned her in the ring, which I'm still confused about. But that's AEW for you. Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho was okay. Tony Storm ended up costing Ruby Soho the title match, so Chris Statlander retained. So I guess Tony Storm will no longer be a part of the Outcasts, likely. I can't remember what happened on Dynamite, but
We'll talk about it. We don't remember what it is, but we shall talk about it.
we shall. Next match: Bryan Danielson versus Ricky Starks. Fun fact: Dave Meltzer gave this match 5 stars,
Deserved.
and it was a solid match. They beat the crap out of each other. And can I also mention, Bryan Danielson coming out to Final Countdown again, despite Tony stating that the song is so ridiculously expensive that after Forbidden Door, it is likely that it won't be used again. And here we are, 3 months later, and they used it again.
I will say I can understand that song being expensive though.
Right?
Given how much it's been used in like pop culture.
Exactly.
Oh,
They got to get their money's worth. But no, this was a really good match. Danielson won while he locked in the LaBelle lock on Starks, and Starks passed out. And this whole time, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was in commentary. Of course, he got involved in the match when Big Bill tried to interfere. And in the end, yeah, Danielson won.
Okay.
Eddie Kingston and Katsuyori Shibata versus the Blackpool Combat Club. This match was all right. It was all right.
Okay.
It was kind of hard to top the strap match, but that's to be expected. The BCC won very abruptly.
All right. Continue. I'm sorry.
All right. The BCC ended up getting the win when Castagnoli hit a huge uppercut on Eddie Kingston. This was very abrupt, very out of nowhere. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite match of the whole card: Kenny Omega versus Konosuke Takeshita. This match was a banger. That's really the best way to describe it. It was a banger. And Takeshita ended up getting the win with
Very surprising.
with 3 knee strikes. Gotta love them knee strikes.
I love knee strike.
And fun fact, this match also got 5 stars from Mr. Dave Meltzer. There you go. Shout out to you, Dave.
Shout out to Dave Meltzer. I thought you had beef with him. No, I'm just kidding. You don't see me having beef with Vince Russo and then he does one good thing and I say, shout out to you, Vince Russo. I don't do that. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah, Dave Meltzer. So okay, moving on. Bullet Club Gold versus Young Bucks and FTR. Oh, there he goes.
No, I was just gonna mop it.
This match was actually very good, exceeded my expectations. Although the fans pretty much hijacked it because every time the Young Bucks got in the ring, the fans booed, and there were many CM Punk chants throughout the match because of the Young Bucks and the CM Punk fight from the previous year's All Out, which was interesting.
Yeah.
But very surprisingly, honestly, was Bullet Club Gold getting the win against FTR and the Young Bucks. I did not expect that, but it happened. And finally, the main event, which was pretty cool to see as the main event, Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley for the international title. This match was pretty one-sided. Like Cassidy had no chance. Moxley pretty much completely wrecked him. Now Cassidy did get a little bit of offense in, but it wasn't much. I think he like drop kicked Mox's head into the steps and hit an orange punch. I think there was one other thing, but for the most part, Moxley had complete control. And surprisingly, we've made fun of this multiple times. Moxley usually, likes bleeding from the head in his matches. This time it was Cassidy doing the bleeding. Mox did not bleed. We were very surprised about that. But yes, Jon Moxley is your new international champion. Thank you. Good night.
All right. Okay. So that was All Out. Overall, what'd you think of the show?
Fantastic.
Okay.
It was a really good show from what I saw.
Honestly, I do agree with you. If you remember the day that All In happened, there were 2 confirmed matches.
Yep.
For
And
All Out.
within
And I was
that
like, this
week
show
going
is
into
gonna
All Out,
suck.
they just threw on 9
Yeah.
more matches.
I was like, this show's gonna be bad. It's gonna suck, and it turned out to be pretty good.
Exactly. Like we were making jokes that we weren't going to watch it. We were going to skip the show.
We were
But-
literally recording when the show happened.
Exactly. We recorded the last week's podcast while the show was happening.
Okay. Monday Night Raw. And then after that, I just got a little tidbit about NXT that because we need to talk about this. But first, Monday Night Raw. To start off the show, Jey Uso cuts a promo. If you didn't watch Payback, he returned and is now a member of Raw. The best part about this promo was Sami Zayn. Yeah. Sami Zayn came out while Jey Uso was cutting this promo, and I don't remember most of what was said, but I remember it ended with him hugging it out after all that happened, and I was just like, yes.
Sammy, I think, did mention something about Jay not being very oozy.
Oh yeah.
They had to bring that back.
Yeah, Jay. After that, Jay was like, "Sammy, that wasn't very oozy of me, was it?" I was like,
Yeah, yes.
But no, Sammy was talking about how Jay broke free from the bloodline, how he knew he could do it, and everything. And with him hugging it out because Jay is a full blown face now, and I'm ready to see where that goes on Raw.
It is interesting that they have multiple people that the bloodline feuded with, kind of like not very excited that Jay is there.
True.
Like Drew and Riddle, they kind of, when they made their entrance, they were very displeased to see Jay. But
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how they kind of build Jay up to be like a babyface and kind of like maybe regain trust with a lot of the face members of the roster.
Yeah, I feel like that's the next logical step. I mean, like you were saying, he's basically crossed a lot of people who are now on Raw. So He has
Yeah,
to start rebuilding that trust and regaining everybody,
yeah.
so that he can have a babyface run. Um, or just turn them all heel. No, I'm just kidding.
Ah,
And then leading into that, we also had a Viking Raiders versus Riddle and McIntyre match that the Viking Raiders won.
yeah, the Viking jobbers are no longer jobbers, apparently.
The Viking Raiders are hitting, like, are winning a lot right now, which is weird. It's,
Right. They've been losing
um,
so often.
but they did not win clean. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Of course, Kofi Kingston came out to offer Riddle and McIntyre an assist. He accidentally hit Riddle with a Trouble in Paradise,
Yeah.
and then Eric and Ivar put Riddle through a table to get the win.
Woo.
So yeah, the Viking Raiders win, and it seems to be sowing some tension. Maybe a Kofi Kingston heel turn coming up, which honestly, I want to know where that will go.
It actually kind of looked like they were teasing a Drew heel turn.
That could be too. I mean, I would be cool with that too.
Yeah.
I feel like Kofi's would be a little more interesting because we've seen Drew as a full blown heel before. We've only
Right.
really seen Kofi as a heel like first 6 months of New Day.
Right.
Ricochet versus Nakamura. This was a pretty good match.
Yeah. Right. It was.
um, but as we talked about when we were briefly talking about Payback, Nakamura did challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship, and he did not win. However, it looks like we are going to get that match again. So there is a chance, like if they build him up more, that we could actually see Nakamura hold his first main roster world title. I was about to
Maybe.
say singles title, but I corrected myself.
Yeah. Yeah. He's held every other title except the world title on the main roster, at least.
Oh crap, he has, hasn't he?
Yeah. It's easier to forget.
No, I knew the only one that I forgot about was United States. I forgot that he was US champ.
Yeah, because he when he was IC and US champ, he was hardly on television.
That's true. But no, Ricochet wins by DQ. Um, it's mainly because Rollins rushed to the ring and attacked Knock. So,
Mhm.
or no, not attack Knock.
I think not
What?
Nakamura hit Ricochet with a chair,
Nakamura hit Ricochet with the chair. That's
and
exactly
then
what
Rollins came in for the
happened.
save.
Yeah. Nakamura ended up getting himself disqualified by using a chair. Yeah. And then, of course, as well as Nakamura and Rollins, we also have to talk about the other elephant in the room when it comes to the world title right now. Senor Money in the Bank,
Yeah.
Damian Priest. Because he was also part of, technically part of this match. He was shown maybe contemplating a cash in at that point. Didn't happen yet. I don't think he's going to cash in on regular TV. They had that last year. They're not going to do it this year.
Yeah, probably not.
The Judgment Day cut a promo. Um, yeah, the tension between Priest and McDonough. I want to see where this goes, but I feel it. This is just my opinion. You do not have to agree with me.
Yeah.
It's already getting a little bit stale, in my opinion. Like having them both somewhat in the group.
Yeah, they are kind of repeating
Yeah,
the same thing every week. Like JD would kind of like maybe come in and help the Judgment Day, and then Priest would be like, "Bro, we don't really want you here. I mean, thank you, but go away, please."
yeah.
And they've done that for like a month now. There's really no,
Development.
building up to
No.
if JD's gonna join the Judgment Day or if Priest is gonna beat the crap out of JD and be done with it. Like we
Yeah.
we don't know.
Plus, with the rumors that Priest may be leaving, I do want to see the story going further, not just
Right.
staying where it is for the next few months. But other than that, Priest got a new briefcase. It
It's a cool briefcase.
is a cool briefcase. But no, honestly, it wasn't a bad promo. It wasn't a spectacular promo. Bleacher Report gave it a C plus. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Shayna Baszler versus Zoe Stark. Better than expected. Better than expected. Um,
Yeah,
we were
it was
you were
I.
just talking about this during the payback review. Well, I'm sorry. Well,
I was just saying it was I.
yeah, you were just talking about this during the payback review. We're hoping Zoe Stark doesn't sort of fall off now that she's out of Trish Stratus's shadow. I feel
Right.
like they have like the right merits right now to build her. Not maybe not to a championship run,
Yeah.
but to at least challenge for it.
Right. Like she's got the wrestling ability. She's a pretty good wrestler. Her promo skills could use some work, but you could also say that for most of the roster.
Yeah.
So
And you
just
could also
gotta
say
gotta
that
let
for
it
her opponent.
right. Just gotta take some time.
Yeah. But no, Shanna Baszler wins this with, I believe, a yeah, Kirifuda clutch. Shanna Baszler wins. But overall, I fully expected it to be a squash match, honestly.
Right.
And it wasn't. It was actually a little competitive.
And I think they fist bumped after the match.
Yeah. And now an actual squash match. Raquel Rodriguez versus Chelsea Green.
Ah,
The women's tag titles are cursed. They are.
yes.
So we had Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville win the tag titles.
Yep.
And what is it, like a week, 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
Sonya Deville gets injured. So they say, okay, we don't want to vacate these titles again. Chelsea Green will get a new partner. Chelsea Green finds a new partner in Piper Niven. A week later, Piper
Two.
Niven's not cleared. So now
Yeah.
we're back in stage zero.
We're back to square one, boys. We're
Back to
back to
square
square
one,
one.
where Chelsea refuses to give up her belt, but she doesn't have a partner.
She doesn't.
The belts are cursed, man.
And I did find it kind of funny that they poked fun at the fact the belts are cursed when Chelsea was backstage with Adam Pearce.
Yeah.
She was talking about, after Piper Niven was said to be not cleared, she was like, "No, the titles aren't cursed. My all these people are just bad,
Mhm.
kind of in character." But in reality, she's lying. The belts are actually cursed. Like,
Yeah. Come
oh,
on. Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough.
hmm,
I was surprised that JD McDonough won. I'll say that right now. But
yeah,
overall, this was an okay match. This was an okay show, really. I mean, it wasn't spectacular.
it was all right.
Um, we need to talk about this segment though, too.
Oh
The
yeah.
Miz TV segment.
Oh my God.
So Miz comes out to the ring and has Miz TV with John Cena, plays John Cena's Titantron, and nobody comes out because you can't see John Cena.
They did the joke.
They did the joke. And I just want to say props to the cameraman.
Yes, Stu.
Props to Stu, man. He ran to the ring with the invisible John Cena.
Yeah,
They played sound bites.
he basically like reenacted John Cena's whole entrance, even though John Cena wasn't even there.
And then the whole thing with Miz talking to nobody, and
Yeah,
then giving a skull crushing finale to Cena. The whole thing was just awesome.
I loved every bit of it. It was fantastic.
But no, overall, and then of course the match happens. Um, I don't remember this match mainly, although I think we were also playing games.
Yeah,
But no, JD McDonough wins after some Judgment Day interference, of course.
yep,
He wins with a roll up, of course. So again, we're at this plateau. Is he in the Judgment Day? Is he not? We need to know.
Yes.
Now, this was match of the night. This one coming up. Gunther versus Chad Gable for the IC title.
Yes, sir.
Now, if Gunther won, I'm gonna. Okay, come on, Gunther won.
Yeah, good there one. Like,
um,
there was no doubt.
so now Gunther holds the distinction of the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion ever,
Mhm.
beating Honky Tonk Man's reign this Monday. Um, and overall, this match was great, and I can't wait to see if there's going to be a rematch.
I hope if there is a rematch, I think I said this to you. If they do a rematch, it's either got to be an Iron Man match
Mhm.
or a 2 out of 3 Falls match. We need
Yeah,
this match to go long because they
yeah.
could go long. They
Mhm.
had a great match.
I mean, these are two technical wrestling masters. I
Yeah.
mean, one like grew up in wrestling with Gunther and basically has been wrestling for most of his life. And then
Hmm.
one was in the Olympics.
Right.
You put these two together and you get magic. This was by far the best segment on the show. Overall, the show got a B minus from Bleacher Report. I'd say C plus. Again, not a very not the best, but
I,
not
I I think the main event definitely saved it a little bit.
yeah. The main event was definitely the saving grace of this show because
Yeah.
everything else was just sort of middle of the road for me. There wasn't anything super horrible or super bad,
Right.
um, but everything was just meh until that main event came off.
Yeah.
All right.